As soon as Amelia sits down, we'll start the meeting. I've never seen Amelia move so fast. Right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Overview and Scrutiny Committee meeting held, or which is to being held on the 16th of October 2025. Good afternoon, everybody. We are live webcasting today, so can I please remind members, including myself, to use their microphones and remember to turn them off when they are not speaking. So to the agenda, item 1, apologies for absence. Amelia?
Thank you, Chair. We received apologies for absence from Councillor Cooper, who will be joining us on Teams, Councillor Carson and Councillor Lawford. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Amelia's looking at me. Can we now appoint a Vice Chairman for today's meeting? And because we've had your good self, can I suggest we have Councillor Penfold as my Vice Chair tonight, this afternoon? Is everybody happy with that, including Councillor Penfold? Do we need to vote on it, Steve? Yeah. Yeah, can we all put our hands up? That's unanimous. Unanimous except for one. I can watch what she's doing now, you see. Right, okay, so going to item 2, minutes of a meeting held on the 26th of June 2025. Is everybody happy as that is true and correct record? Yep, hands, please. Yep. Were you happy with the minutes? Okay, thank you. Do councillors have any declarations of interest this afternoon? No. Okay, thank you very much. To the best of my knowledge, there's no urgent items. So we'll move on to item 5, division of the agenda. And again, I don't believe there's any reason to devolve the agenda. Is that correct? Yeah. I presume we have no members of questions from members of the public? Yep. So, item 7, Nikki, Councillor Hopwood, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Chairman. So
I'll leave it to you.
Sorry. Thank you. So before I introduce this item, I did only read it this morning because our annual Ombudsman's letter is always excellent, and it is this year. But I have noticed it's the annual letter for 24-25, which is attached to Appendix A, and all the data attached at Appendix A is for 23-24. So I'm slightly confused.
We have got the updated letter, the correct dated letter for 21st of May 2025, just been presented to us all. So thank you, Nikki.
Thank you. I haven't got that. So it is an excellent report. There were 2 complaints that the Ombudsman has upheld and have been investigated. Most complaints are about things like planning, for which it's not an ombudsman referral. So there's not really a lot I can say on it because it is the same as every other year, just excellent. I believe that we handle complaints really well, and we make sure we learn from complaints. We don't see them as a negative. We see them, if they do need to be upheld, as a learning curve. And I think if you always adopt that attitude with complaints, then you'll always be okay. So they're always learning curves, not to be, they're not to be really, well, they're to learn from. That's all I have to say from Chairman.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Hopwood. Members, do you have any questions to Councillor Hopwood? Looking very quiet. No. Okay, can I thank you very much for that? As you say, it was a good report, a good letter, and it's good news for all of us as councillors and also residents. So thank you, Nikki. Okay, so moving on to item 8. This is almost for Councillor Hopwood roadshow tonight, this afternoon.
I know, and I never usually get anything to do, so I'm delighted.
I think,
So this is the thematic.
Nikki, I've
update
got to go
report.
back one stage. Sorry, I think we've got to vote on. So, item 7, to review the scrutiny reviews of Ombudsman annual letter for 2024-25, make any necessary recommendations. To the best of my knowledge, are we happy with that? Councillor Birch?
I don't think this is a recommendation for you. I think it's this calls for you to review. I think you need to give an opinion or as to what is the outcome of your review, rather than say that you do review. That you know, in other words, I think you need. It says here, and make any necessary recommendations. I think you ought to complete the recommendation that's on the paper, and if you have any recommendations, to add that. Because the recommendation is asking you as a committee to do something. Therefore, I think you need to respond if you're going to, if it's going to go into the record. In other words, what do you as a committee, what's your view on the report before you?
Well, the way I see it is that we are happy with what has been presented in front of us, and we accept that. Is that not correct?
I think you need to put that into a wording for a recommendation for the committee to consider.
So, if I repeat that, is the committee happy to accept this letter, and is everybody happy with that? It's the one we've just been presented.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's the one we've just been presented.
But are the statistics we're looking at, are those the statistics from last year, those 2 cases, or is that data for 24-25?
24-25, Councillor Steele.
It was purely the letter which was incorrect.
Okay, that's great. Thank you.
So is everybody happy with that? All those in favour?
Hold on a second. We're talking about the
Is there a page 2 for that?
I think there was.
No,
They're
because
not in the original
it's
one.
signed.
Right, okay. So there should be. So they should. So the statistics in the report
Of this year.
are for the 24-25 year.
Correct.
The report that the appendix that's published on the website is the 23-24 year. The letter that I thought you were getting, it would appear that you've got the letter, but there's actually an appendix page which shows the statistics that are in the report.
We can't do anything.
So is what we've got in our papers, where it says for the period ending 31/3/24, is that?
That's wrong.
That's wrong, so it should be period.
So it
ending-
should be 24-25 year,
Right.
and the report that's been published is the 23-24 year.
So we can't.
Chairman, if I may, on page 10 at 2.3,
Yes.
those are the stats for 24-25.
Okay.
That's what
Correct.
I understood. The only thing I thought that was wrong in the papers was the actual letter from the Ombudsman, which was dated 23-24. But now we've all received the letter 24-25. That put in front of the statistics we've got in the papers makes it correct. Is that
Yeah,
not
that's
correct?
correct,
That's what I
Chairman.
understood.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
So we're happy.
Okay. We're happy.
Chair,
what
can
I
I just ask
understood.
the question then? On the report in the pack, it says 1 upheld decision. Is that the correct stats for this year?
No.
What is
No,
the number?
Chairman.
It's
upheld
what's
And
in
so-
2.3 of the report.
The average for authorities of this type is 1.2 upheld per 100,000 residents. So we are 2 rather than 1.
Yes.
So we're slightly up. Right. Okay.
It's doubled. That's tragic.
Your maths is
Dreadful.
correct.
I'm quite impressed with that as well.
So the table in the main report of 2.3 is the important statistics
Okay.
to consider here. And they would have been on the appendix of the letter that's been handed to you. So that's where they were taken from. So whilst you're correct that the number of upheld complaints has doubled, what is probably to me the most important statistic is of the 19 complaints received, the Ombudsman only investigated 2 reports. So that, to me, means that our complaints process in terms of handling and responding to complaints correctly is right, because it's not like they're investigating all those 19 complaints, because they basically said the response that we provided addressed the complaint and there was nothing further for them to do. So that's the important point there. So going back to a recommendation in terms of what the committee recommends, that's what the committee needs to consider.
Fine. Is that that's what I believed I moved.
For complete transparency for the committee, I've brought the Ombudsman website up on the screen, because actually the letter, having looked at the letter that they've published, it doesn't actually include the appendix. So we will go back to the Ombudsman on that. So, Amelia, you have printed the correct document that is published. However, alongside that is a web page that includes the data around the report. So I just thought, for the purpose of committee, so you're not just taking our word for it, this is the local government ombudsman complaints data, 19 complaints dealt with, 5 not for us, 512 assessed and closed, 2 investigated. The bit that it doesn't say is that 2 were upheld, but we've told you that in the covering report. So thought it might just be helpful for committee to be reassured that.
So can I ask Steve and also Neil, how do we make a complaint about that?
Well, it won't be upheld.
Okay, so can we vote on that? Is everybody happy?
So there's no recommendation.
So we need some
There's no
words.
or if you can put the words together, Amelia? I can't read that. Right. Agree. Not that bit. Okay. The Overview and Scrutiny Committee reviewed the Ombudsman annual letter and supported the findings. Everybody happy with that?
Don't we
Yep.
have to, all right. Don't we have to say that there's no further recommendations at this point? We have to say there's no further recommendations at this point. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll vote on that because we're adding that after we've had the vote. So if everybody's happy with that amendment,
Well, they didn't hear it, so say it.
well, can you?
Oh, God, I can't remember what my words were now. And what were my words, Amelia? Yeah, just say it.
So this is what you're going to be agreeing on. The Overview and Scrutiny Committee reviewed the Ombudsman Annual Review Letter for 24-25 and supported the findings with no further recommendations.
Okay, everybody happy with that?
Yeah.
And do we want to vote on the idea of actually making a complaint about the Ombudsman, or should we leave that one? Leave that one? Okay. Maybe not upset him for next year. Okay. Right, so to move on to item 8. Councillor Hopwood, the floor is yours again.
Thank you, Chairman.
I've got you on one picture, not on the other.
I can have that. This is the thematic update for core services. Nothing really to add to the report because everything is on track or completed. So I don't know if there are any questions, but yes, everything's good.
Okay, councillors. Councillor Penfold.
Hi, Nikki. Nikki, is there any information where we can see as a council who these apprentices are and what they're doing?
But they will be, we get a list of starters and leavers and they will be on that.
I understand.
Councillor Hopwood, if you're happy, I can jump in. I don't think that all members receive the starters and leavers list. I think it might just be the executive. Yeah, we can do that, Councillor Penfold. Certainly something we've done quite recently is promoted what the apprentices are up to through our internal employee newsletter. But we could expand that to the members' bulletin if that would be helpful and share with you some of the things that our apprentices have been up to. Probably won't name them all, but I think it's helpful to give you a flavour for the sorts of work they're doing. We've got quite a few in the sort of AONB. I think we've got one in planning, one in commercial services, grounds maintenance. So there's a pretty good spread across the council, and we are increasing the numbers of apprentices, which is all in all positive. But we can certainly share that with members through the bulletin if that would be helpful.
I think it would be good because I understand we might not want to put their faces and names to it, but it's something to promote to our residents. The council is doing this as part of our community.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Penfold. Members, questions? No? Can I ask 2 questions, if possible, please? household recycling rates, we're just missing. When wrong papers. Okay.
It's
Sorry.
not on the.
Yeah, sorry, I apologise. Is there any other questions?
Sorry, me again.
Yep.
So on page, whatever page is it, page 22, it talks about the staff survey that was carried out, and that all the staff are feeling a lot happier and better about working for the council. I just wondered what you asked. Is there any evidence of what you asked? Any results that we can see?
Thank you, Councillor Penfold. So yes, we carried out the staff survey. We had a really good response rate. I don't know if we've said it in the report, but about 83% of our employees completed that staff survey, which is really, really positive. Most councils, the best they expect is to get a sort of 45, 50% response rate. So that's positive. We also use an external company to run the survey for us, which we find takes out any element of us looking at the results again. Yeah, they might be saying that, but that's not what we're seeing. And that's really positive. And there's about 60 questions in the staff survey. Yep, which staff go through. It sounds like a lot, but it probably only takes them sort of about 10 minutes to go through and complete it. Those responses are then considered by the company, and they work out some of the key drivers for us as an organisation. You know, be that focus on learning and development, or, you know, communications, various other elements. So that's what we've got. We haven't shared it with members. We could probably share the headlines with members. I'll be honest, there's a complete science behind the survey that I don't understand, and I just take for granted that our supplier does, because they sort of triangulate the results and, you know, all sorts of things. But we can certainly look to share the headlines with members.
So presumably there's some themes behind with the science. It kicks up some themes. Does that get shared with the executive then? They see that?
It certainly does with the leader.
Okay.
I don't know if it does. I don't think it does with the whole executive. But what it does do is we then take that and we use that to shape our organisational development plan. And we've recently updated that, which includes things like focusing on apprenticeships, health and well-being of employees. This is some of the sort of obvious things. But there are some real positives coming out. One of the biggest positives is that they think pretty consistently everybody across the council has trust in their manager, you know, which I think is so important for the organisation. So there are some really strong things coming through that survey. But yeah, we can certainly share that with members.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Steele.
Thank you. So on the cost of living part, one of the recommendations is to invite citizens' advice to ONS. I say it's not on the work programme at the moment, but is that one that's planned?
That's one that I'm particularly interested in, because we help at the Dartmouth Friday Hub, and we found out that with the cost of living crisis, the amount of clients which we have has probably doubled in the last couple of years. And how are we ensuring that we are supporting citizens' advice and other community groups to the best of our advantage to them, because that's really important to those most vulnerable in our community.
So can I suggest, Chair, that you add that as a recommendation, that the committee requests citizens' advice and the council's cost of living officers come and present to the committee, and then it's a recorded recommendation. And then,
Chair, when was it last the citizens' advice were in?
Chair, they last came 21st November last year.
Well, it was a year ago. Yeah. Okay.
So it's about right to have them again.
I think so, and others as well that I think maybe discussed towards the end. Okay. Fine.
Yeah. Okay. Is everybody happy with that? Yeah. Is there any other recommendations we'd like to bring forward from this? No.
Do we need to ask, you know, having a thought, do we actually need to make that some form of so it happens?
I think that's a good idea. Councillor Penfold is suggesting that we bring forward with the apprentices for a future meeting. Could we do that?
Oh no, I wasn't saying, sorry. I wasn't suggesting that we drag them in and scrutinise them. What I was
No. I didn't expect it. No. Not what I meant.
Oh, sorry, that's not what I meant either. It's whether we actually have to put a recommendation or a motion or something to say, to ask that we have an update about the apprentices, whether we need to write that down and have that voted on. Is that correct? Do we need to do that?
I think it makes perfect sense to have it as a recommendation.
Okay, so
Okay.
do that as a recommendation, please.
So is everybody happy with that? So if Amelia puts those 2 extra recommendations on the screen for us, she's typing as fast as she possibly can. She's doing much better than I would be able to.
And can I also ask about the survey of officers, about the well-being, if we have some report about that, please? Perhaps the themes, I don't know, that kicked up or something very simple.
Chairman, can I just say, sorry, Chairman, can I just,
Yep.
it's great to be requesting all these reports and updates and being really keen to know what's going on. But remember that every report that's written does take up county officer time. So can you just bear that in mind?
Totally
You know,
understand that, totally understand. But that is one of it. This is why we're here, isn't it? So it's really important that we do have an update. So
Can I make a suggestion,
Steve?
taking into account what Councillor Hopwood said? So if the last 2 items, the apprentices and the staff survey, if we did that as a update to the committee from Councillor Hopwood on an email, and then the committee could then decide whether, when they receive that email at the next meeting, whether they're happy with that, and that's enough detail.
Yep.
How about that?
Members happy with that? Councillor Eade?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think, as far as I'm concerned, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay. So we have what's in front of us. So we're now saying that we don't wish them to attend the ONS. No, the CAB we do wish to attend into a future meeting, the CAB, to receive an update on apprenticeship scheme and staff survey for the lead member via email. Everybody happy with that? Yeah, second, all those in favour? Okay. Thank you for that. Okay, so moving to item 9. Oh, we've got change now. Councillor Hopwood again. Key performance indicators, April to August 2025, pages 23 to 52. Nikki?
sorry, I was speaking to myself. Thank you, Chairman. I think the only 2 to look at are those that are slightly off target, which is the mist bins and the household recycling. So the national benchmark for mist bins is 80 per 100,000. We set ourselves a target of 80. Sorry, we set ourselves a target of 80. And in August we were 82. So just 2% off the actual target. We're still there or thereabouts, and we certainly that's less missed bins than over the last 2 years. So hopefully, you know, the contractor has bedded in now, and I look forward to seeing that. I mean, the next period is tricky because it's got Christmas in, but I think we're doing really well on that. Household recycling, there's a national benchmark of 42.4%, but we didn't feel that stretched us enough. So we've always had a target of 57%. We're actually at 55%. So we are above the national benchmark, but we're slightly below our own target. But I still think both figures, I think, are completely acceptable, Chairman. I'd like, you know, like to hear your views on them.
Okay, thank you very much, Councillor Hopwood, for that. Maybe the national benchmark of 42.4% is a little bit low, and maybe they need to actually raise that themselves. Are we likely to ever achieve the 57? Is that likely to happen in the next 12 months, 6 months?
Well, let's, you know, we're at the mercy of our residents, and I think our residents do an excellent job with recycling. It'd be great if we could have that little bit of push to get up to our own target, but we are way above the national benchmark. So I think, you know, good for the residents. They really are working hard to recycle as much as they can, and I think overall doing a damn good job. Yes, I'd always like to see it reach our own South Hams target, and maybe in time we will.
Steve, I think, wants to come in first.
Yeah, just to echo what Councillor Hotwood said, I think for us now, we've got the systems in place. It's about the awareness. And I know the team are working up some campaigns in terms of public awareness to improve and increase recycling. And Mr. Noyce, who's the Assistant Director, has also asked SLT for... He's moving some of the funding around so that he can almost create a recycling education officer role for the next couple of years to try and get out and get into schools and so on and look at some campaigns. So we've got the ability to now collect more recycling, and we've got that, and we've got all the right systems. It's that awareness that we need to build.
And are we going to have campaigns in the next 6 months to actually boost that knowledge?
Yes.
We are. Yep. Okay. Councillor Eade?
ED, thank you, Chair. Just to be clear, Councillor Hopgood mentioned it was 80. It was going back to the number of missed bins per 100,000. 82, right? So that's 82 out of 100,000. So it's, we're not missing by 2%, are we? We're missing it by 0.0002%. I think. Just so it is a pretty decent figure, I would say, out of 100,000, isn't it? If 80 is the target, what is it? I mean, is there a national average or national target?
So good performance is deemed to be 80 per 100,000. So that's why we've got that target in there. What the statistics don't reflect is we're talking about the period of the summer, which is traditionally our busiest time in terms of holiday homes and so on. So to be at 82 when people are out there collecting more bins, more rubbish is going into the system than ever, is significantly better than if you look at the previous years in that sort of June, July, August period, we have consistently beat last year's performance, and our, getting there is what I would say.
Yes, and clearly the system is as a missed bin is a reported missed bin, isn't it? Otherwise, it may well be missing bins, but it's not reported in some cases. It's just these have been reported. Am I right in saying that?
So these are reported by the customer as a missed bin, and weren't down to something like so if the crews get no access, i.e. there's vehicles blocking their entrance to a street, then the resident wouldn't be. We would always try and go back and collect, but they wouldn't never be counted as a missed bin because the resident. There was a reason we couldn't go to empty their bin.
So if there's a block road, then actually that's not considered.
So this is where the customer has reported it. The crew have not reported that the bin wasn't there in the first place, and if they are genuine missed bins, yes.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Perswell?
Thank you. Yes, I was going to actually ask about outreach because other than the stats, I think it's important to keep the outreach going. Could you just give me clarity again? You said this gentleman isn't going to potentially go into primary schools until for a couple of years.
No, the ambition is to recruit somebody in the next couple of months to work for the next couple of years.
That's great.
On recycling outreach type programs.
And could you also just explain very briefly a bit more about the outreach? So other than stuff on the website, what else do you do? Because we used to receive a local SHDC magazine that used to come through the door. That doesn't happen anymore, probably because of costs. But could you just give me some a bit more flavour of the outreach that you're considering?
No, not really, because I haven't got the detail, I'm afraid. I mean, again, we could make a recommendation to ask for an update to come back to this committee if you so would like one.
Chairman, sorry, could I suggest please that we wait until this officer is in post, and then give him chance to get his feet under the table, and maybe he could give members a briefing on what he's doing.
Yep, that sounds a very good idea. Thank you. Any other councillors? No. Okay, I think we've got one or two I'd just like to highlight. The benefits calls, that's good that we've got 89%. That's really good news for the council. Some really good comments and good reports on here. Can I ask one that I'm always constantly being contacted by residents is, and I don't know where I would find these details, is Miss Dog Bins or Miss Waste Collections, waste bins, because that's one that I'm constantly being told by residents these have been missed. Is that recorded anywhere, or where would we record it?
It's certainly not recorded in the core KPIs. We have what we call a Waste and Community Services Officer Board, where the various aspects of all the different service, and they report back in terms of overall performance and things like vehicle accidents and near miss health and safety issues. So it is it recorded in there? Do you know what? I'm not sure it is.
Would, and I'm obviously looking at your good self and my vice chair today, or no councillors, would it be an idea to have that group come to this committee at one stage in the future?
Can I suggest that I will take an action to provide members with some statistics on misreported full waste bins or dog poo bins over the last 6 months, and then the committee can make a decision as to whether they feel it's something they'd like to look at in detail. Do councillors think that'd be a good idea? Yes, maybe. Yeah. Okay. Well, Steve, yes, if we can do that, that would be a good idea. Okay.
The other one I'd just like to raise is temporary accommodation. This obviously is a concern for those most vulnerable in our community. Is there anything more that we can do, Councillor Hopwood, or I don't know if I'll speak to Neil, about how we could actually assist with these? Councillor Hopwood?
Sorry, Chairman. I think we've got.
Have you got a dog in front of you now?
Oh, I have. He's having a cuddle because he's crying because his dad's just gone outside. Sorry, and he is my baby. I think we do a really, really good job on providing a temporary accommodation for residents, and we don't have people who we try not to have people on the streets. There are some, of course, where they actually want to live on the streets, and we have to respect their wishes. But we have, I think, the best housing team in Devon. So if we need to place residents in temporary accommodation, then it's for a reason. The reason actually is affordable housing. As we know, there's no option, and it's a challenge to house people, but I think we are purchasing our own housing stock, and we are doing everything in our power to make sure that we do house residents, whether it be in temporary accommodation or in social housing. But I think the team in general just are superb.
I would agree with that, but sometimes when they have to be housed in Torbay or Plymouth, and they live in Totnes or Dartmouth or Kingsbridge, those temporary accommodations are quite a long way away from their homes and their families, etc. So that's the only thing I would raise. Is there anything else, members? No? Okay. So the recommendation in front of us that the Overview and Scrutiny Committee consider Oh, sorry. Okay. So, Councillor Penfold.
So total calls, page 50. I'm just a little bit confused by that, if that's okay. So can you Councillor Howard, explain to me what the total calls that that graph is indicating, please? Are we talking about website, or we're talking about telephone? What are we talking about?
Just hang on, sorry, I need to go.
It's page 50.
Contact centre calls answered in 5 minutes.
It says total calls, page 50.
Oh yeah, I haven't got page numbers. Sorry. So is it contact centre calls answered in 5 minutes? That page?
No, it's not. It's after the revenues and benefits.
47. I can see it. Sorry, I've just seen the blooming things. So there's calls as in, just reading it now. it's callers a day to Follen House reception, as far as I can see. We like to encourage people to contact this council by email or go via the website. It's all about channel shift, but we do get visitors. 60% of our visitors to Follerton House are actually for tenants that rent office space off South Hams.
Okay, can I just just for my brain, please, Nikki? So it's total calls. So this graph is showing people that just drop in to Follerton House, nothing else. Is that right?
No, it's phone calls as well. So it's phone calls and visits to CST.
Okay.
And as Councillor Hopwood said, that the idea of this graph is to demonstrate whether we are getting more or less people contacting the council overall.
Okay.
So obviously we want, in most cases, we want less people to contact the council. That's because we either get it right first time, or they don't need to contact us at all, or because our information on our website or our electronic forms are easy to use.
Okay.
So the idea is you're looking for a trend that shows you want to be decreasing the number of calls, because actually people don't need to contact us because we're already doing a good job. That's the purpose of it.
Okay, but we're talking here about people.
I completely agree with you, Councillor Penfold, though. Sorry, it is a confusing chart because I'm looking at it. I've never really, because I just presume I understand it, because I understand the graph is calls, and then you've got 2025 August 6.285 calls. Now, but you've got in the graph for August just over 6,000 calls. So I think it is confusing, and I understand why you're not understanding it.
And then in the explanation of performance of this period, it talks about callers to Follerton House.
Yes.
Then it talks an aim to shift a channel used from calls to website. Then it goes back to callers to Follerton House R4. So just sort of, with my sort of amoeba brain, it's not clear to me what you're trying to demonstrate here. So can we have some clarity over that? Can it be changed so it's?
I think we can take that away, what you said, and relook at it.
We can, and just to clarify, it's 6,285 calls, but it does actually, zooming in, say 6.285, so that's not too helpful. So it's 6,285 calls. I think the explanation we'll take on board that could be clearer. I think that took on board previous requests from ONS to understand the levels of people coming into reception. So although this is primarily call data, what we've also said is, 20 of those 28 callers a day were via the reception. But if you read the narrative, it's not that clear, is it? If you just pick up the report without the benefit of previous ONS discussions, so we'll take that on board.
To be fair, Chairman, if the dot was out of there, it's obviously a typo. There would have been no confusion. It's that dot that's confused everybody.
Sorry, Councillor, it's not. I find with the explanation, it's just not clear to me what you're trying to analyse there. Sorry. Yeah.
So perhaps next time we could try and clarify that a bit easier for us.
We will tweak the explanation and make sure it's clear.
Okay.
So maybe change
Councillor
calls.
Steele.
Yes. So perhaps calls could be just calls and visits. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Is there any other concerns? Yes, Councillor Penfold?
No.
You were giving me that look. I just thought there might be something. No. You're okay. Right. Okay. So we have a recommendation in front of us that the Overview and Scrutiny Committee consider and note the performance indicators for April to August 2025. Is everybody happy? Yep. Okay. Thank you for that. Right, moving to item 10, task and finish group updates. We've all seen the reports in front of us. We have the procurement strategy task and finish group. Councillor Birch, I think. Is Councillor Yardy with us as well, or is it just you're very able
I think he's not with us.
Okay, so Councillor Birch.
Right. Before I introduce the report, could I just say that Rosanna Wilson, the author of the report, is on the screen. So thank you, Rosanna, for attending. I would like to just remind members that the Audit and Governance Committee a while back made a recommendation that this committee form a task and finish group to assist officers with developing a procurement strategy. So your committee set up a task and finish group, and I'd like to thank them for all the work that they've done in working with Rosanna to come forward with the procurement strategy. I met with the task and finish group and with Rosanna and went through a draft strategy that had been prepared by the task and finish group. I think we've come up with a document that I certainly would recommend to you as a policy that should go forward to the executive, to the next meeting of the executive for approval. The proposed strategy is before you. If you have any questions, I'll do my best to answer, or alternatively ask Rosanna to deal with the questions. But certainly I'd hope that this could go forward to the executive and it in return approve the strategy. Thank you.
Councillor Birch, thank you very much for that, and we'd like to thank the Task and Finish group for all the hard work and effort they put into helping with this, so thank you very much for that. Roxanna, have you got anything that you would like to add? Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. I did question the chimneys behind you earlier on. I just wondered where you were, but I didn't know Teambridge had those facilities, but
no, to be honest, I don't think it is in Teambridge. Thank you, Councillor Birch, for that introduction. I think he covered everything, to be honest. So if you have any questions about the report, about the strategy, then please just let me know.
Okay, members, I'm looking at Councillor Penfold because I know she'll be raring to go.
No, Rosanna, can I just say, I know the task and finish group were quite exacting. So this is, I'm really proud of this document that you've done, or that we've done. So that's, you know, it's great. And we were very nitpicky over it. So, and having reread it, I see all the adjustments and typos and things that have changed in it. So it's brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you.
Members. Councillor Eadie.
Just to speak to that, but what particular things were you focusing on when you were being nitpicky, if you mind me asking?
Well, I don't want to share all our dirty laundry in public, but there were things missing and needed adjusting, and you know, things that needed to be filled in and stuff. So I think that's enough to say, actually. So I think you can look at it in its entirety now, actually, and decide whether you're happy with it or not.
Can I just say,
did that answer your question?
A mysterious answer, but I suppose what I really was referring to were there aspects about were you trying to change the levers of percentages of aspects, or is it just simply spelling corrections or something like that?
Can I just say we strive for we strive for better performance, and we did well there. So yeah.
There you go.
Councillor Jackson.
Yeah, I was just going to say, in light of the local government reorganisation, how sort of pertinent will the procurement strategy be when everyone joins together? And has that been, is that been considered?
Councillor Birch?
Well, perhaps I'll leave Rosanna to answer that question, though. I think, am I right in saying that West Devon have also carried out a similar exercise, and the document that they are proceeding with is similar to ours? Is that correct, Rosanna?
Yeah, absolutely, and Teambridge as well. We're really, you're really the leader in terms of the procurement function. You're the leader in terms of local government reorganisation, because South Hams, West Devon and Teambridge are the only councils in Devon that really work as a shared service in procurement. So all the strategies are, the blanket is the same across all three councils, and when it comes to local government reorganisation, depending on which model it will be, it will be merged into this new council. The problem is, because there's so little that we know at the moment about which model we're going to have, it's quite difficult to make comment. But I think you should all be really proud to be the leader in terms of a shared service for procurement.
So can I ask a similar question, so that when this comes to the Teenbridge Council for adoption, and obviously I'm looking at Steve for West Devon, the wording will be very, very similar?
Yeah, West Devon's adopted it and Teenbridge have adopted it. It's just Southampton to go now.
Fine, okay. So that's really important, because with the transformation, it's a waste of officer time and money that we are all still separate. So the quicker we can get united and uniform, like we have been with West Devon for many, many years, is really good news. So thank you for that.
Can I just
Councillor
say,
Birch?
yeah, I'm just saying that we're going to send a copy to Torbay as a Christmas present.
Can I suggest that we make that as a recommendation for Miss Overy and Scrutiny Committee? Because as someone who has to work in Torbay, I'd really like us to get closer to with them. And oh no, I can't say what I'm thinking. Councillor Hawke, Mr. Hawke.
Thank you, Chair. It was just to build on what Rosie said, really, and I think to go back to your point, Councillor Jackson, I think the objectives are the sorts of objectives that pretty much any council will have. I mean, obviously ours are the best, but they are standard objectives. You know, councils are working in the same way: sustainability, social value, value for money, transparency, and accountability. I mean, some of the thresholds, some of the nuances might be slightly different, but pretty much any council's procurement strategy you could pick up and you would see similar themes.
That's reassuring. Thanks.
Okay. Steve?
So in the procurement strategy, there are some KPIs and that says will be reported to ONS, come back to ONS. So I think it's probably, so we don't lose sight of it, worth making sure that in 12 months' time, because this is yet to be adopted by the executive, I think it's on the next agenda, is it? So in 12 months' time, we want it on the forward plan to come back to the ONS committee, I think, would be my recommendation, with the, okay, so you've got the strategy, this is what the KPI said we'd do. So I think it would be good to do that.
Fine. So is everybody happy with the recommendation? And can we suggest that Roseanne and Councillor Birch send that to Torbay Council as a Christmas present in early December? So the recommendation in front of us, we can all see, sorry, Councillor Steele.
Yes, sorry, just before, actually just wanted to ask about the supply, the portal, Supply Devon. Is that something that's, I guess that's planned, and is that something that's planned across Teenbridge, Southampton, West Devon, and could potentially be, or where is that just a concept, or is it a plan in motion for that portal? No.
Could you answer
yes.
that?
Yeah, that's fine. So the Supply Devon is created by a company called Applegate. It's a free portal to use for both us and the suppliers within Devon. It was created from grant monies, hence why it's free. And essentially, it's a more user-friendly portal than our portal that we use for tenders, and it works on the basis of automation and artificial intelligence. So we would put a project out, and it would search for suppliers in Southampton, and then if they can't find any suppliers in Southampton, they'd expand the area and then expand it again to Devon. And it's really been proving to be useful. It's used across other councils in Devon. I know that Torbay have used it in the past. I have got a meeting with Torbay on the 4th of November, so I will ask them if they're still using it. I find it really useful. For example, it takes about a minute to set yourself up on the system as a supplier. So if you are a company, then feel free to give it a go. You just go to Google and type in Supply Devon, and it will come up. and yeah, it's just a user friendly. So it's not a specific Teambridge, South Hams and West Devon system. It's a system there for any Devon council to use.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. So we have the recommendation in front of us. Is everybody happy with that? Can I have a seconder? Yeah. All those in favour? Okay. Thank you very much for joining us, and we hope you have a constructive meeting with Torbay Council.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Right, we have item 11, the executive forward plan. Oh, sorry.
71 pages.
Sorry. Right, yes, how could I forget that? Sorry. So 10B, consultation and engagement task and finish group. Again, Councillor Birch.
Thank you very much. Thanks. So, first of all, I'd just like to thank the task and finish group for their work on this. It was a challenging piece of work. I'd also like to thank Michelle Pearce for the work that she put into this and preparing the report. I saw the draft report that was coming before this committee, and I've actually suggested that items 3 and 4 be added to the recommendation, and the Councillor Yardy, who was the chair of the task and finish group, agreed with the proposed recommendation. So I wonder if I could just briefly explain why 3 and 4 has been added. The council's consultation and engagement strategy emerged from a task and finish group that was set up, I think it was about probably 3 or 4 years ago under the previous administration. And a lot of work was put into producing that document. But unfortunately, after the document was adopted by the council, it was my view that report and all the hard work that went into that report was actually kicked into the long grass. It really, it wasn't being applied. In other words, we as a council got a consultation and engagement strategy that really wasn't earning its keep. And so at item 3, the third recommendation is effectively there because there should be produced what's called an annual timeline, which shows the consultation and engagement activity that is being undertaken by the council, and that be updated and then be put before you for scrutiny. In other words, at subsequent meetings of this committee, you will be in a position to make certain that this strategy is working and effectively earning its keep. So that's addition at 3. And number 4, if you go to the end of each report, in this case it's item 5, you'll see that there is a table, and it's always got the heading implications. I don't know how many of you actually read that, but there is something, in my opinion, that is missing, and that's why I'm suggesting that whenever a paper or a report comes before a committee, no matter what committee, it should state on that at that part of the report whether or not that whatever is a recommendation or whatever is there, whether it be identified whether or not it should be, whether the consultation engagement strategy is relevant in that part. In other words, we're putting in place steps that will prevent this strategy, hopefully once it's approved by the executive, again being kicked into the long grass. So it's there, a lot of hard work goes into this, and it needs to, as I say, needs to earn its keep. So that's the reason for 3 and 4 being added to the recommendation. Otherwise, the report or the strategy, in my opinion, reads well, and hopefully you will recommend that it goes to the executive for approval. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Councillor Birch. Members, you've all seen the report. Any comments? I'm perfectly happy to support 3 and 4. I think that's really good. I think it makes it more comprehensive. The only thing I would sort of say is how are we going to ensure that this strategy is actually working? Because once we've consulted, then are we going to listen to that consultation, or how are we going to judge that? Because as someone who is a member of the public, sometimes we keep on being consulted, but we don't always get what we want. And I know that's obviously democracy, but how are we going to ensure that when we've listened, that we actually act on that result?
Well, I think that's down to the 31 members of this council to decide whether or not they take on board the outcome of the consultation. At the end of the day, it's as we, as members of this council, determine or decide policy, and in doing that, we always take on board a number of factors. One, which must include the consultation response or what arises from engagement. Therefore, the final say as to whether or not we as a council are going to take that on board, then that is up to all of us, not one particular person within this organisation, because we're not a dictatorship yet.
Thank you for that. Steve?
Yeah, I would agree with what Councillor Birch said. I mean, there will be a lead member presenting a report, and if there's been agreed that there was consultation and engagement, then there should be reference in the report about what the outcome of that was or what the plan is to do it. So it should be transparent in terms of the presentation of the report and subsequent next steps.
Okay, thank you for that. So this is not just a tick box exercise. Okay, thank you for that. Any other comments? Councillor Steele, you look like you wanted to say something. No, so everybody's happy with this, yes? So we've got the recommendation 10B. Is everybody happy with those recommendations 1, 2, 3 and 4? All those in favour? Okay, thank you for that. Thank you for that. Now, if we move on to item 11, the executive forward plan. Obviously, members have read that. Is there anything of concern or anything we want to discuss at this stage, or just for noting? Everybody happy? Yep. Do we need to vote on that or no? Okay. Right. Why does item 11 go to item 13?
Oh.
That's you. Oh, it's okay. I could say even item 12. Okay. So members to add anything to the work programme that's ahead of us. Is there anything in particular that we've obviously got the work programme in front of us there? Is there anything that we would like to add as members that are raising concerns with you or your residents? Councillor Steele?
I just wonder, have we ever engaged with any medical groups like Beacon Medical Practice where residents have issues? Has that those sort of organisations ever come before in scrutiny, or is that really beyond our remit?
Would that not, Stephen? I'm looking at you. Would that not really go to Devon County Council, or should we?
Yeah, I think that we're talking about health here, and I think I think Councillor Yardy has been appointed onto the health scrutiny committee at Devon County, or is something to do with that. So maybe there's an opportunity to, at some point, ask Councillor Yardy to come along and talk about the work that his group are doing on behalf of the residents of Devon. And that might be a good idea as a starting point.
I think that sounds a really good idea, Steve. Yeah. Councillor Eadie, you were.
I was just looking at this. So just to clear up the Fusion Annual Report, October 2025. Is that when it's been published? Is that what that refers to?
No, that just needs to change.
2026. Correct?
Which will be June.
June, okay.
June. So that's, and then we typically invite them to come and join us. What might be for the one after March, presumably. Okay. Do we need to decide on to be selected there? South Devon Landscape Safeguarding Policy. That's the purpose of having them there, is it? And then I suppose we're going to throw in the citizens' advice as well. Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a reason why we perhaps couldn't do that for the 18th? Or
sorry, Amelia.
I think just picking up on the South Dartmoor Community Energy, the request from executive. So that was a request from the executive at their July committee. So in relation to support provided to the South Dartmoor Community Energy Organisation, in response to a member commending the work undertaken by the South Dartmoor Community Energy Organisation, it was felt that this should be promoted to the wider membership, and it was therefore agreed that the Overview and Scrutiny Committee should be encouraged to invite this organisation to a future meeting.
Okay,
that's why it's on there.
so that which says October 2025, what I'm actually saying is June 2026.
That's fusion.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So can we add what Councillor Eadie is suggesting?
or just to come back on the point that Amelia was just raising. So South Dartmoor we need to invite as well.
Yes.
And so therefore for December, would
We
it be
could
possible
invite them
to
to
invite
December.
them?
Yeah.
So
And
with the
equally-
agreement of this committee, are you happy to invite Southmoor, Dartmoor Community Energy to the meeting in December?
I think everybody's happy with that, aren't we? Yes. Okay. Councillor. Yeah, I'm very careful with names. I
know,
do
don't worry.
apologise.
It took me 25 years. Coming back to what the councillor still say about the health, is dental clinics involved into the health, or they are separate entity?
My understanding is that was one of the reasons that Councillor Yardy was put onto the committee, because he's of the issues around dental, and it's an issue that he's well aware of and campaigned for. So I think we can make sure that he includes that as well.
So when would we actually ask Councillor Yardy to come to that meeting? Would it be December, February, March? And also, Councillor Yardy did an awful lot of hard work and effort on the dentistry, which is perhaps something which should also be at the same meeting.
Yeah, I think he's only just got involved in the committee, so I think we need to give him 6 months, if I'm honest, to at least
Okay, so if it's 6 months,
get going.
come to the March meeting? At 6 months or thereabouts? Yes? Yeah, everybody happy with that? Yeah, Amelia's happy with that. And then the other one we've got to add on to that is citizens' advice. And that perhaps should come to the December meeting as well. Everybody happy with that suggestion?
Chair, is there a reason why it would be better to have them at a different time? I'm just thinking about the nature of their work.
December is so busy.
If it went to the February,
So suggest a February meeting
I
for
think
them.
so. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Councillor Jackson.
Yeah, it was just about the Fusion annual report. I wonder if we could have that a bit earlier. I've had lots and lots of complaints again about Fusion.
No, sorry. No, the reason you can't have it earlier is because they've now aligned their annual programme to effectively our financial year. So they've previously worked on a calendar year, which is why we always got a report in February or March. They now align to a financial year, so they don't start doing their report until April. So that's why it's so. Sorry.
So the answer to that is no. Is there anything else? Councillor Penfold, I'm worried about your silence. No? So that we're happy with that. Yeah. Okay. So, to the best of my knowledge, that's the end of today's meeting. The next meeting will take place on the 18th of December. We have a budget advisory group meeting, which is taking place on Thursday, the 22nd of January, which is a combined meeting. So hopefully all members will attend to that, which is a very important meeting for the budget. Okay, thank you very much for coming. Many thanks. Have a good afternoon, what's left. Thank you.